South Africa has a new global queen. Soweto-born Tshego Gaelae has broken a 40-year-old norm, becoming the first black woman to be crowned Mrs. World at the finale in Las Vegas. Now, she's an advocate for women's empowerment, an attorney and a social media influencer. She helps South Africans shine the spotlight on their rights. Now, joining us in studio to talk to us about her journey is Mrs. World Tshego Gaelae. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your win. Have you taken it in? Have you absorbed it?
Wow, this week has been a whirlwind. I think I'm still on a very big high. Taking the time to just accept and embrace what this means, not just for myself, but for my country.
And, you know, some wins, some would tell you that they're not just wins, but they also, you know, breaking some sort of curses, if you may, as well. But also I'm keen on finding out if there is a greater meaning to you winning this title in terms of what does this mean now for Tshego? What does it mean for women in the country?
I think I've been speaking about this quite a lot this week, that this was quite an unconventional win. For being the first black woman to be crowned Mrs. World in 40 years. It's quite an unconventional win, and I think it means so much more than just to me, but to women in general, not just black women, and to men. You know, we can stretch it and to men, because it means that even in your unconventional way, whichever way you feel unconventional or not the norm or not accepted, you're also worthy of wearing a crown. Whatever the crown means to you, whether it means a career achievement, it means your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, whatever the crown means to you, it means in whatever unconventional norm way that you are, you're also worthy.
And this is quite a powerful platform that you've been brought onto. Let's hear how you plan on using that platform for the betterment of the people around you, your immediate surroundings, but also for the greater benefit of the people that look up to you.
So I actually have a non-profit organization called We Are Our Children's Keeper. And it's such a blessing that I won Mrs. World at a time like this, because I'm at a point where I want to grow my platform, grow my NPO, but I'm still struggling with the fact that there are still children in South Africa, in Africa, that still have to cross rivers to get to school. And that for me is a problem. So my non-profit organization, we focus on collecting and donating school shoes and school uniform to underprivileged. But I want to make it larger. I want to invite corporates. I want to use the platform to also involve the public sector, to put hands together to make things better for children, make things safer for children. Imagine if we could build a bridge and actually point at that bridge and say, we came and we put our hands together brick by brick and built that bridge, which means that more children are safer on their journey to school, and allowing children to focus on what they need to focus on, being children, learning, growing, and not on being victims of their circumstances.
And let's talk about the build-up to this historic moment. I'm sure you must have faced some challenges which you've had to overcome, you know, towards this triumph that you were heading to and breaking records. Let's talk about some of those challenges, because part of us having this conversation now is that you're able to be relatable to a girl who's sitting, for instance, in Uqumbu, in Iqobo, to tell them that it's actually possible to really reach for your goals.
So I think not a lot of people know that my time in pageantry is still very, very young. You know, I entered Mrs. South Africa at the beginning of 2023, and that was the first time I entered a pageant, and I happened to win. And so winning Mrs. South Africa means I represent South Africa at Mrs. World. And I'm not your typical pageant girl. I don't have a pageant girl walk. I don't have a pageant girl talk. I don't have a pageant girl way of speaking. You know, these are the things that you allow yourself to come out of your comfort zone. I'm an attorney. And for a long time in my career, I was a litigating attorney, meaning that I would speak in court every day. And very argumentative, for lack of a better way to explain it. But then you refine it, you allow yourself to go into a process of growth, mentorship, walking, coaching, and you just allow yourself to come out of your comfort zone and do something different that allows you to grow and stretch in different ways. Those are some of the smaller challenges that I faced, you know, being in Las Vegas for the first time, the big bad world. I left my family in South Africa. My child turned 5 while I was away. And so some of those things, you really put your mind over matter, and you understand the seriousness of why you are there, and you really put yourself in there and allow yourself to be present, just so that your departure and your representation of your country is not in vain.
And here's the thing, I think about women's conversations and women empowerment conversations. There's this sense that they always played in pause at the certain time of the year. Then we pick them up the next year again, only to find that progress has not really been made in one specific field or expertise of it, or whatever it is that we had been talking on or advocating for. Let's hear from you in terms of how do we really take these conversations forward, because there is a need, and that need is to actually see action.
I think when it comes to sustainable women empowerment, we need to bring the conversations out of just a conference or a networking session. We need to bring them into our workspaces, into our home spaces, into spaces that we share with other women. It doesn't mean when you're trying to empower women, there must be this big action that needs to happen. But in small ways, where we mentor, where we train, where we involve and bring people onto the tables that we sit in, that's where empowerment really, really happens, and happens on a day-to-day. It happens intentionally and organically if you allow it into your spaces. So I think it goes beyond just having a massive event and calling it a women's conference for the benefit or the empowerment of women. So I think once we start involving it on a day-to-day, practicing it, living it, to your sister, your sibling who's your sister, to your friend, to a trainee who just came into the office, just always being cognizant of your actions having a ripple effect on those around you, and allowing it to be having an empowering effect.
Sealed with a perception, of course, that very important moving one, that charity certainly begins at home. Tshego Gaelae, listen, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best. We'll be tracking your progress going forward. Thank you so much for your time on the program.